Good evening and welcome back to Cryptid Combat. We have an anticipated matchup here tonight. The Thunderbird, the third seed, Bird third, versus the Drop Bear.
That's okay.
That's a pretty good impression.
I'm the other guy here. If you've never heard a koala bear before, that's pretty similar to what a koala bear sounds like. I'm actually pretty excited.
Yeah. But this one has teeth and is like 4 foot tall.
Hey, koala bear is a koala bear. All right, they've all got chlamydia.
Yeah, honestly, this might be our first cryptid that's like, are we sure this isn't just like a diseased bear?
Yeah, could be. I mean, this animal is, I think, supposed to be a carnivore, and it only eats toxic plants. So,
I mean, honestly though, like the Thunderbird here just looks like a guy in a suit.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, the bird's behind him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering where that other dude's torso went behind him.
Yeah, I guess it's like a, like the Undertaker. He came out with Paul Bearer with the urn or whatever. That's what this guy's his manager. He's carrying the urns of his former victims or something.
Oh, dude,
the ashes.
It could even be he himself. Maybe the Thunderbird has some sort of ties to his cousin, the Phoenix. You never know.
What if he's like a Pokemon trainer and that's the bird's like his.
We burn him at the end of every match to make him easier to transport.
Oh my gosh! All right, I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna get into this, but I have to say up front, this is I've done the worst, the least amount of research for this episode. So, I know that the Thunderbird is like a Native American legend of a big bird, and I know that the Drop Bear is basically like a joke. As far as I know, it's like, oh, watch out for the Drop Bear. That's basically like.
No, in Australia, man, you got to watch out for them. You're walking under eucalyptus trees at night, you never know when a drop bear might drop down. Hence the name, Drop Bear.
That's a great name, actually.
The Aussies keep it simple.
They are a simple people. We have the bracket here. As you can see, we've gone through 4 matches so far. We're halfway through the bracket. Sasquatch getting the victory. Flatwoods Monster getting the victory. Then we've had 2 shutouts, or near shutouts, I should say, with Mothman and Dogman. The Mans are on top. And hopefully we can get some women to start winning some matches here.
Yeah, potentially this is a female Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Or
let's just say that. It's a female. Sure.
Honestly, whoever wins this, we're gonna grant them the title of woman. As we are men, we're able to do that. So.
Exactly. Next week, Dover Demon will face the Lizard Man. Jersey Devil versus Chupacabra coming up, and finally the Wendigo will face the last wild card. Maybe it will be. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, we talked about potentially having one of our favorites, like the Fresno Nightcrawler, get a second chance. I'm sure he'll fare better against the Wendigo.
And the Fresno Nightcrawler, yeah, he might. And I mean, you were talking about the shutouts. There is something that one of the shutouts has in common with this one, which is the Mothman versus the Nightcrawler. We've got a terrestrial being versus an aerial being. So this time I went smart and I did bet on the Thunderbird. I did bet on the Thunderbird.
That's probably a good bet. If we look at the seeding too, I mean, obviously Drop Bear was a wild card, but I have to say, if I'm very honest, I think its seed is probably fairly accurate.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and speaking of, before I move on, I want to mention the more this list goes on, it's honestly a shame for the Bunyip that it ran into the Sasquatch head on, because I think almost any other opponent, Bunyip might have moved on to the second round. But,
yeah, because I mean, just talking about size and stature, he's got a lot of weight to throw around.
Yeah, I don't want to be like too theoretical here, but I can see the Mothman and the Dogman being hard fights, and the rest of them I'm kind of skeptical. But
yeah,
let's move on. The Thunderbird. Look, see, I was right. It is a Native American legend. Um, it's a big bird, maybe a pterodactyl. I don't know. There's a guy next to it.
And you talk about explosive force on there. So the explosive force, I mean, these guys are, according to the legend, supposed to be able to generate thunder with every flap of their wings. That's an explosive force we have not yet seen in the ring.
I thought I was referring to field artillery, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think that's might be why we adopted it. But I mean, also, if we recall what the former unit patch was, yeah, it's probably a good thing we moved on from that former unit patch.
Yes. Yep. But yeah, Big Bird. The strengths and weaknesses. He can fly. She can fly. She has talons, teeth, and power. Well written by our typographist, is that's what you would call it? Whoever wrote this. Great job.
Just amazing work. Amazing work on their part.
Ambush. And just to hammer it home, what does ambush mean? Well, it's an effective ambush killer.
The only way you can describe something is by using the name of that thing. Exactly. That's what I've always said. Now, I do have a question. I have a question about the strengths, real quick.
Sure.
Do Thunderbirds have teeth?
Well, that's the thing. Is it a pterodactyl? I think pterodactyls have teeth. Is it not?
Potentially.
That's the thing. With almost everything on this list, we're going to get into one later. I'm not going to say it yet, but in a couple episodes, we come across a creature that has been described 5 different distinct ways. As we've talked about, even with like the Bigfoot, it's like, okay, can he dimension hop? So it says talons, teeth, and power. That might be an error, or maybe we're just assuming it's a pterodactyl. We'll have to see what the computer says. What I do know is that it can fly. It's probably pretty fast, and it can ambush. Probably a pretty similar strategy to Mothman here, but maybe a bit more. Probably a bit more deadly weapons to deal with.
Yeah, and it could be, I mean, a little bit more refined. After all, this is the girl power episode. More attention to detail in the attacks, so maybe it's not just a swooping motion constantly, which I know the fans were getting really, really tired of seeing Mothman do that.
Oh, one thing to note, as we've confirmed for sure, the Thunderbird is a female. Females have lower upper body strength, so we don't have the pectorals and the power of the Mothman upper body wise, and that means that if the Thunderbird gets to the ground, it has a lot less ability to grapple out of a hold. Thus, the weaknesses, it's weak if grounded.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But I mean, lower body strength also comes into it with those talons.
Yep, it's this I would say pretty similar in strategy to the Mothman, but with a few differences. I don't have all the stats on me, but I would imagine it probably. Let me look that. Let me be a professional and just actually look it up. Let's see. Be nice if they were next to each other. That's what I thought. It has a bit of a slight speed advantage over the Mothman. Let's see. And a durability advantage. I'm going to question that. I don't know about that one. Either way.
I mean, birds have hollow bones, so yeah. I would take that with a grain of salt.
Yep. Drop bear.
From down under.
It's satirical. So whoever wrote this clearly doesn't believe that the drop bear is even a real cryptid or legend.
I don't know if these people have ever been to Australia before.
Yeah, I mean, this one's practically just a real animal.
Yeah, he's hanging out right there in downtown Sydney in that picture.
So he also has ambush. He also has ferocious. which we just have two synonyms to describe it.
I will say, in this strength thing, the ambush for the drop bear is a little bit more convincing than it was for, because it ambushes its prey. Ambush, good at catching by surprise.
Ferocious,
Okay, there we
aggressive.
go. Whoa! Somebody got mad in the typography studio, and under weapons, claws and teeth.
Oh yeah, it's clearly the drop bear's got a lot to. You got to think his strategy is to hang out in the tree and try to grab onto the Thunderbird as it's swooping by.
And you talked about being grounded earlier. I don't know how well the drop bear is going to compare and contrast, because I mean the drop bear is already aerial. It's up in the trees. Arboreal is what I meant to say, but it's already up in the trees. So bringing something down from the sky might not be too big of a problem for him. But him getting down to the ground himself might also be her getting down to the ground herself might be a bad thing.
Listen, I'm not supposed to give the strategies for the combatants, but if I were the drop bear, I would try to get a hold of one of those wings and just wrap it up around branches, like just hold it down there. There's a lot of branches that could get tangled in. It's hard to get momentum to keep flapping its wings. However, with the power of the Thunderbird, maybe one flap of the wings is all it needs to send the drop bear flying across the trees. So this will be interesting for sure. Note the weaknesses. Endurance. The drop bear has not been in camp. He was called last minute. She was called last minute. She didn't have time to properly prepare for her opponent, and so she might be winded pretty quick. And stature, it's not a very big cryptid. It's about 4.5 foot tall.
This might be a
sixth grader.
This might be a better matchup for the drop bear to actually be called in for, because can you imagine the reach advantage that Bigfoot would have? I mean, the Bigfoot wouldn't even have to climb in the tree; just reach up into the tree.
Just pull her out of the tree, and we have a domestic abuse case on our hands.
Yeah, we gotta call Cryptid Police Department.
Let's see. Here's where they are.
Oh.
As you can see, for the first time, we have something interesting, because the Thunderbird has been seen throughout all of North America and into Central America.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually interesting. I did not know down in Central America.
I was surprised by Alaska. If I had done more research to figure out specifically what about Alaska, I would let you know, but I didn't. So,
excellent.
I also didn't do enough research to figure out if there's a specific place where drop bear came from. But
I mean, the drop bear has probably got to have the same range as the koala bear, which is, I believe, primarily East Coast, right? Never eat shredded wheat. Yeah, East Coast Australia, in the eucalyptus trees, because for some reason they only eat eucalyptus, a highly toxic plant. I have problems with koala bears, just overall, in general.
Yeah. I mean, koalas, honestly.
That's what I'm saying.
I gotta say, I mean, we might have a tightly contested matchup here, but I would be lying if I said that, honestly. But it's not up to me to analyze it. What do you think? You kind of already alluded to it, but do you have a pick here? Where's your gambling money going to?
That's why they call me the analyst, because I analyze. Here's the thing, all right? Before we get into the super analytical perspective between these two fighters, these two female fighters, these strong women, one thing I want to say is that this is, in a way, a rematch. This is our second America versus Australia. So who knows? Australia could have a sense of national pride restored after the bunyip had the floor wiped with it. Now, when it comes to the Thunderbird versus the drop bear, like I said in the very beginning, I did place my bets on the Thunderbird. I don't think that is an incredibly out there option. You could have said drop bear, and if you had a PhD in debating, you might have tried to convince me and probably not been successful to go after drop bear. Look, like you said, drop bear, she's not been working on her cardio. I've seen her striking a little bit in the
I can
gym.
tell.
Striking game is really, really weak, but like you said, ground game. Ground game might be where it comes down to, and I have seen her. She's been doing the shrimps. I've seen her do shrimps longer than I think I've seen anybody else do shrimps before. So, all that being said, on top of that, with her being arboreal, she does have more upper body strength than the Thunderbird. So,
Yep.
we will have to take it to the mat, find out.
Can't wait to see Drop Bear use a butterfly guard in this matchup here, going for heel hooks on the Thunderbird. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I said, sorry, I forgot that I had to actually pull up the matchup. I'm great at this. What episode is this again? Here we go. All right. As always, there are going to be 3 rounds, one contested in each of their home fields, and finally the last one in a neutral arena. The vast sky gives the Thunderbird total dominance. Well, that's a spoiler. What the crap? It circles high above, striking with blistering aerial dives that its talons multiply into bone-shattering blows. Drop Bear attempts to cling to trees and launch ambushes, but the open terrain provides no canopy cover. Its claws barely graze Thunderbird when it dares swoop close, but the smaller cryptid is repeatedly carried aloft and mauled midair. Endurance and power Endurance and power gaps create a one-sided slaughter despite Drop Bear's ferocity. The Thunderbird wins the first round. Alright, now we're in the Drop Bear's home field of the dense Australian eucalyptus forest. Here, the Drop Bear thrives in ambush. The thick canopy allows it to leap with cruising initial strikes, surprising Thunderbird in the tight quarters. Several bouts end with Thunderbird raked by claws and dragged from branches before it can ascend. Still, Thunderbird's immense wings and superior power let it smash through branches, taking flight after each ambush. Its sheer size and talons make most encounters lethal once the bird stabilizes in the air. Drop Bear racks up more victories, but endurance and scale eventually tip the majority in Thunderbird's favor. So, just like that, Thunderbird has already won, but maybe in the neutral arena with less trees, the Drop Bear will have a chance.
No, it's a moderately treated. We did plant some eucalyptus trees 90 years ago in the arena just for this match.
Exactly. This will be the time where Drop Bear will get a moral victory here, I'm sure. The plains offer both sky and some tree cover. Drop Bear manages a handful of ambush kills from lone trees, but the open expanse make these attempts predictable. Thunderbird rules the middle ground, diving repeatedly to crush its smaller opponent. Fear effects begin to work against Drop Bear, as even its feral aggression falters when faced with a predator 5 times. Who wrote this? The battle becomes decisive as Thunderbird leverages its speed and devastating aerial power on. The Thunderbird won. It won again.
Oh.
Look at that. Look at that movement. Look at that. Look at that strike.
She's real light on her feet.
All right.
Let's look at these numbers.
Yeah, Thunderbird, almost 100% sweep in the first round. Honestly, not bad. I mean, it's not great, but like round 2, that's a fair amount of wins. This is not the most one-sided bout we've had for sure.
No, that would have been Mothman versus the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Yes, Fresno, he was not prepared. I think that a rematch is in order, but however, Drop Bear, I don't know. I really don't think the extra endurance would have helped it. I think that this matchup is going to always end up this way, if I'm honest. That's pretty conclusive for the Thunderbird with her
unfortunate
partner.
But what that means is I can actually make my mortgage payment this month, and the bank will not get my house.
I think that makes you 2 for 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on a hot streak right now.
We're back in the win column for America and for your bank account. That's
kind of as a capitalist, if I'm not seeing green dollar bills everywhere I go, I find that to be a failure, you know?
Yeah.
Now, Australia,
stupid koalas.
I've got one thing to say to the island of Australia. which I think it's earned that title by this point.
The
The island of
been
Australia, you
demoted.
guys need to get some tougher cryptids because these cryptids you guys have been sending us, Bunyip, I mean, just take a look at Bunyip, for example. Like, what were you guys thinking? What were you doing? And I saw him in the training camps. He was out there, but all he was doing was sacrificing everything for the butterfly stroke when he could have been
Yeah.
going for the butterfly, grips, right?
Yep.
And all I'm saying, Island of Australia, is if you're hearing this, throw some shrimp on the barbie for your girl, the drop bear. But
I really.
this is a great girl power episode. I'm happy that the stronger of the two girls came out on top, and love the Thunderbird. I really am excited to see who she faces off next.
Yep. Congratulations to a woman out there. Yeah, and hopefully, I really think that like someone, not that we're since you brought it up, someone like the Bunyip has potential, but if its best sparring partner is the drop bear, it's not gonna be ready when comes time to actually fight.
What they might
Um,
want to do in the off season is send Bunyip maybe to Asia.
you know,
Send him up there because they've got some pretty
send the
intimidating.
Bunyip to Dagestan.
Exactly. They got some pretty intimidating, not just cryptids but also wildlife that he can spar against. So
I was gonna say you just put him in the actual just like Dagestani training camp. Like that's got it's an 8 foot tall monster walks into Khabib's gym. Yeah.
slithering his way through.
I'm just imagining the Bunyip like in a rematch with Sasquatch tying up Bigfoot's legs and pressing him against the tree and just grounding and pounding. All right. Anyway, let's not get distracted. The Thunderbird wins. Congratulations, woman. Next time, the Dover Demon, ranked or seeded number 11th. That's an actual picture, by the way, not a drawing. Versus the Lizard Man. And look, we talked about the Mothman earlier. We got to start drug testing these athletes.
Absolutely. This is getting out of hand at this point.
Holy crap.
People always talk about like the female beauty standard crisis. Look at this. What do you think this is doing to me right now?
Yeah. Look, I need to go train with the Lizard Man for sure.
Yeah.
Or at least start taking what he's taking. But again, I remember you mentioning that you didn't know a whole lot about the Lizard Man. The Lizard Man's a personal favorite of mine. So I don't know how much you can kind of preview on this. What I will say is the Dover Demon is about half the size, and I just from a glance, you don't want to judge a book by its cover too much, but I feel like we can kind of guess where this is leading.
Yeah, I think the Dover Demons got it this time. When you look at, especially, we keep talking about ground game because it was so important last time. But ground game, as a taller person, I never ever wanted to roll around on a mat with someone who is shorter than me because they just seem to have a much better leverage. They're closer to Satan, so I think they get some of the ground and pound techniques. But as for me, if I was Lizard Man, I don't know his height, his stature. I know I was hearing rumors, might have been from TMZ, I don't know, that he has been blasting some gear. In the past 3 months, he's added 50 pounds of muscle, which I don't know what his species is, but maybe that's normal for that species, but I can't see it.
Here's what I'll tell you. From all the reports of the Lizard Man throughout history, he has not had a tail. So I know that you don't know much about it, but yeah, there's no tail. So it must have grown a tail, unless that's something else. But,
I wonder what cocktail would have made that happen. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's some sort of growth hormone, I'd imagine. Lizard Man is about 7 foot in height. It's near Bigfoot's, and now with the extra mass, it's pushing on Bigfoot territories of size. I think that this will be interesting. The Dover Demon might have a speed advantage, but we'll have to see next episode.
Absolutely. We will see you guys ringside. You do not want to miss it. Next Saturday, Sunday? Is it Saturday, Sunday?
It's Sunday now.
Next Sunday.
Somewhere between Friday and Monday.
Dover Demon versus the Lizard Man, with or without tail. You'll have to see next time.